Good morning. It's Thursday, June the 27th. It's about 9:30 in the morning. Temperature is around 78 degrees, which is the coolest it's been in almost a week. We got about a 10 to 12 mile an hour wind. But today we're going to do an inspection on this hive. This is my big one. I've had it since June of last year. It's the only one that pretty much survived intact. The other one has survived, but it's swarmed. It still has the same, well, it has a new queen, but it's doing good. We're going to do a fairly quick inspection on this. Now, last week I found small hive beetles, and I put my Swiffer sheet in there, and I got a small hive beetle stuck in the top. Unfortunately, you usually end up killing a few honeybees, but you got to get the small hive beetles under control. These are floor sweeper sheets. They're the really cheap ones, but anything that will stop hive beetles is a good thing, and those are really cheap and they work. All right, so we're going to go into the top honey super. Take a look. They're building out comb. This is the farthest one to the right. They're building out comb on both sides. Good. We have 2 deeps and 2 supers on this box, on this hive. Next frame is building out. We're going to skip one, go over towards the center. They're building out comb, nothing in them yet. Next one over towards the center feels kind of heavy. They've got nectar stored in one side. It's good. The next one over is a old comb, and it was already built out. So most likely it's completely full of honey. No, it's not completely full. Every square is almost full of nectar. Next frame over is built out. They're doing good. I've only got 9 frames in this box because I'm wanting to build it out real heavy, and they're doing a pretty good job. Let's just go ahead and pull the last frame on the other side. And they're beginning to build it out. So that box is doing good. They're building on every frame and storing some. I'm going to set this on the side. All right, the next box also has 9 frames, and the 2 old frames are built out well beyond the sides. And I know from last week they were plumb full. They were packed with honey, so we're going to go to the next frame over. Yeah, it's fun. They've built out the frames next to the wall completely. and packed them. All right, they're beginning to put nectar in this one. Same on both sides. All right, next frame over is a new frame that's fully built out. No capped honey on either side. Scoot those over. We're going to go ahead and pull that medium out, just so you can see what it looks like. And I dropped my hive tool in the box. That's why you don't want to set your hive tool on top. Okay. There we are. They haven't capped it all over, but they're working on it. It's completely packed, and they're capping across it. So this is the second honey frame. All right. I'm going to go all the way to the other side since I dropped my hive tool. And it's working its way down into the next frame. So that frame they haven't done anything to. This one they're building out in the middle. It's good. And we have a hive tool. Okay, that frame's built out some. This one against the wall is one of my old frames. And they're not doing anything at all to it. It's kind of strange. I'm going to take it out and put it in the top box. Because they should be at least trying by now. All right, so I'm going to take one of the they're doing a good job of building that one out, so we're going to substitute it because they'll normally build out the bottom boxes first. Spaced over. Come on, girls. And we're back in. And then I'm going to put a new frame in that box. Okay. Now then, I'm going to go ahead and go on down in there. See what we got for brood. And the reason I want to swap out that frame that's not building is we're in getting towards the end of June. And they won't be building out comb much longer. I want to get as much built out as I possibly can. All right, look at that. A lot of bees in there. More the merrier. We just like the higher the population, the better you survive the winter and the more honey you can make. All right, let's get some frames over. One thing is doing it, sliding them all over like this, you break up the propolis a little bit. Makes it easier to pull them out. All right, this is one of my new frames. And it's in a deep, and it's completely full of honey. It's capped top to bottom. Well, that side's not capped completely yet, but that's heavy. That's a lot of honey. All right, I'm gonna set this over here. I killed a couple of bees doing it. Okay, but you got to see what's going on. All right, the frame up against the wall is a really old, really needs a retired frame. And it is mostly packed with honey. Yeah, all the frames that are open, uncapped, are nectar. The other side's the same way. So that's 2 frames of honey. It's funny, every little drop of nectar that fell off on the top of those bars, they'll immediately go clean it up. What we've got to find is brood, so we know how the hive is doing. So I've got a hive on the other side that there's no birds at all. Well, there wasn't last week. And yeah, that's almost completely capped honey. And they're working the nectar that's in the holes. This side's completely capped honey. That's 3 frames. There she goes. Yeah, she left her stinger. Oh well, doesn't matter. She did not sting through the gloves. All right. Okay, 4th frame over. I have some pollen, big wide open area in the middle. Looks like it's clean and ready to lay. And the other side's the same way. There's no eggs, no larvae. Mostly capped honey. All right. Okay. Just a ring of honey, capped honey. A bunch of empty cells. And it looks like we have a few larvae there, but they're very young if there are in there. All right, there's what we were looking for. All right, you can see a little bit there. That's because this is old and it's beginning to hatch. Almost every cell that's open has larvae in it. See my queen cups on the bottom, but they're all empty. That's normal. These are a little newer and it's almost completely covered. So I've seen all I need. I've got brood. I'm going to go with the rest of these frames to see if I've got several frames of brood. I feel pretty safe that we're okay. If you see the population of foragers that are coming in around 4 o'clock, you'd think the thing was swarming. So yeah, see plenty of brood in the middle, lots of larvae in the middle. Same on this side. Looking at the next frame, it looks like they've got it cleaned up, ready for... Come on, girls, get out of the way. Getting ready for the queen to lay. So, yeah, that's all I need. You slide these brood back together. And we don't need to go into the bottom box because we got everything we need to know right here in the top. I'm gonna leave the rough frame right up against the wall. Since I know my queen's, well, I'm pretty sure my queen's way over here because these are all honey frames. I can slide that back in there and pretty good chance that she's not there. Because you really hate to go through an inspection and kill your queen. Because I'm pretty sure I've done it before. All right, this is 10 frames. So we kind of move the gap to the outer edges. Make sure all the frames are touching in the middle. just like that. That girl just don't want to turn loose, does she? No, she'll go back in there eventually. All right. So what we know is there's not enough honey. There's probably only, well, I can't take the honey out of the deep because that's what they got to survive on over the winter. So I've got maybe 3 frames of capped honey. So as far as pulling the honey off of this side, looks like probably a no. Most likely all we're going to get out of this is this year they built out a bunch of comb, which means next year, could they take around 11 pounds of nectar to build 1 pound of wax. So that means that they can only build out a few frames of wax a year, and they're not going to get any. They're going to eat all their nectar and honey, just produce the wax. So for a first-year beekeeper, it's not uncommon, since they've got to build out so much frames that you don't get any honey at all. But then we've done an inspection, lots of brood. Did forget my Swiffer. If you go into bee production, this should really be in the brood chamber, right at the brood chamber. But I didn't see any beetles except the one on my sheet. So we're just going to put him back in at the top, just like it was. Oops. Doesn't have to be perfect. And that's it. Hello. It's Thursday the 27th, about 80 degrees now, I think. The wind here around us is about 12 miles an hour, but right here we're, thanks to this nice little fence and the other fence up there, we're blocked from the wind completely. So it's getting pretty hot. All right, this is the nuke box that I started in April. It's been slowly going. The top box is just my feeder. It's on the deep because I had 2 quarts in there. I'm forcing them to build out cone. And I got the cone built out, and they in the 2 deeps, and they ran out of room. They were backfilling it with the sugar water, and you can't feed, you can't sell, or you don't want to give away even sugar water. It's saved for the bees. So since they'd run out of room, they'd used all their space up, I decided to go ahead and put a honey super on it. Now this honey super is all brand new frames, as you can see. They're crawling all over it. They are double waxed, but I thought it'd be fine to put it up there because they were out of room downstairs. Put it up here and see if I can't get some comb drawn out towards next year. Because what else are they going to do? Bees make bees, wax and honey. So you keep them busy. So far, nothing. Nothing. Yeah, they're not building it out. But it's okay. Even if they don't build it out, they're leaving their scent on it. Whoops. Sorry, girls. Looks like they've started on that side just a tad. And you don't want to put too many frames in there because hive beetles will take it all over. And since they were full down below, I thought it'd be good. Yeah, they're not building anything yet. But it's okay. I've still got about a month for them to build out some comb. We'll see how they do. All right, here's what I wanted to show you. Okay, see the 3 little dots? These are hive beetles. These are my floor sweeper. There's 4, 6, 10, 15 hive beetles. Yeah, there's a few honeybees that are stuck in it, but you know. The hive beetles can destroy your hive, and losing 2 or 3 bees is nothing compared to getting a whole hive slimed out. All right, let me get my smoker because I hadn't smoked anything yet. These are pretty calm bees. They're came with a free set of hive beetles. There we go. Lots of smoke. All right. We do have 10 frames in here. So we got to pull one out, set him aside, and lots of new comb. They put a little nectar and capped it on this side. That's hilarious. All right. And we're just going to set that down there. All right, now we go to the one against the wall, and they're building it out. Just looking for hive beetles because I know this one, because of the ton of beetles in that Swiffer. I know there's a lot of them in here, so I gotta control them. I probably need to get some oil traps and put in them. An oil trap you set between the frames, and the beetles will go in it, and they'll drown in the oil, and the bees can't get in it. So it's just another way. All right, we have, yeah, that one glistening in the dark, and it's pretty heavy. I already knew that it was all nectar. This side's got some brood in it. Got one that's trying, a couple that are just about to hatch. Did I get one? Oh. Okay, you'll notice this, where they build this comb between the hives boards. It's not a problem, it's normal. That kind of tells you that they were running out of space, and they just start building drone brood between the frames, and there's nothing wrong with it. They're not trying to swarm. They just building some extra launch spaces for the queen to lay. All right. The smoke doesn't hurt them. It just makes them run for cover, basically, because they're wild animals and they smell smoke. They take off. All right, that one's pretty heavy too. Yeah, every frame in it is full of nectar. It's capped around the sides. Same on the back side, but it's in the brood chamber, and we were feeding a lot, so this is their honey for them to live on through the winter. There won't be any recovered off of this hive. Now, and that's a big if, all of these top frames are full of honey, then I may pull a couple of frames, but you want to leave a lot of honey. Whew, that frame is seriously heavy. It's one of the old frames. Okay, they're still trying to finish filling out the frame, but the whole thing is just completely packed, mostly capped honey. And every frame that's empty, they're putting nectar away. And I did say, well, I made a mistake a while ago. I said if they were all full, we might pull some. We won't pull any off of this because I was feeding it, which means sugar water, and it's considered funny honey. I mean, if I harvested it for my own taste, that's one thing, but I'd have to keep it separate from everything else. And I'm too small of a operation to deal with that. All right. So, this frame has brood over in the corner. And nice capped honey all the way around. And again, they're building up a little bit of connecting. And this side's got some brood that's about to hatch. Some of it has hatched. That's why there's such an empty spot in the middle. There is some nectar in the middle, but there is a little brood, not much. All right, the next frame's an old frame. It's going to be real heavy. They built the comb way out thick, which is normal when they get these old frames. So it's going to be really heavy. It's not as heavy as I thought, and there's the reason why. Okay, on this side, they're putting nectar in, but there's some very young brood. And since I saw an egg, get him over the top, because that means that the queen could be on this frame. And we sure don't want to take a chance. Now this side is what I was excited about, covered with brood. So she's going strong. Looks like the most of the uncapped frames in that are larvae. Carefully put that one back. And that's unusual from one of my old frames, because the queens would prefer to lay in new wax. So it's kind of strange that she'd be laying up in that frame, but they do what they want to do. All right, another nice new frame. It's not completely built out, but they do that sometimes. I mean, it is only 6 months old. See, they built this side out double deep on part of it and have it packed with nectar. We like that. Here's what I'm talking about, double deep. You can see the part of it's flat with the board and part of it's extremely deep. We like that in the honey frames because that means we got twice as much honey. All right. I'm going to go ahead and look at all these frames, although we've already seen that the queen is laying. See, that's a new frame. They've got lots built out, both sides. They've even put a little nectar in this one. And then the last one is an old frame. They've got nectar in about half of it. This side is empty, but they're continuing to work it. So we're good. We had two frames of brood confirmed, mostly covered with brood. We have lots of pollen, lots of honey. And this is the top brood box. So what we can expect in the bottom brood box is more of each. But I've learned that if you see what you need in the top box, don't bother the bottom box. I mean, if you've got diseases or you can't find proof of queen laying in the top brood box, then you got to go in the bottom to find out what's going on. My box on the other side, by the time we got through both boxes, we just determined that there was no queen. And we had to go through both boxes to verify that before introducing a new queen. All right. So we center the boxes, or the frames in the box. And we put my Swiffer sheet. Actually, I think I'm going to get a new one because that one's got... Nah, I'm going to put it on there because the more frayed it is, the more the beetles you'll catch. All right. So that's a good thing. That means we're catching and killing the beetles. And the wind has picked up a little bit. The reason why it's so fuzzy on the edges, the bees will eat it. They'll tear it apart and move it out because it's something that doesn't belong in their box. So that's why you see the frayed edges on it. A couple of those frames back over a little bit. Now this is one of my feeders that I made. It does have a rear entrance. And it's there basically for ventilation. It's not there so the bees can run in and out. And I've actually not seen any bees running in and out of it at all. They do guard it. But the only reason I continue to put this on here is because the temperatures in June and July and August can reach around 100. And it's a little more air. It allows a small opening for a little bit of ventilation and airflow through the cabinets. All of my hives have vented bottoms, screen bottom boards, so they can get some air. I don't see bearding on the front, which is where they just conglomerate all the way across the front and hang down underneath the hive fanning, trying to cool down the hive. I don't have that issue because of the vent in the top. And we'll probably just retire this frame since it's been in there all year and hasn't attracted a bee yet. I mean, they'll walk on it, but they won't do anything to it. So it's got plenty of wax coating. It should smell like a bee, but they apparently just don't want anything to do with it. So I got some other frames in the same place. But that's it. That's all we're going to do on this box. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.